Hello and welcome back to the Leinster Listen. I'm your host Michael Nan and this is episode 46, the preview of Leinster versus Lions in the second last round of the URC. The topics we'll discuss today are the URC Game Predictions, the details of our game, the team lineups, and score and man of the match prediction. Alright folks, it is round 17, the, penultimate? Yeah, second last round of the URC before we get into the quarterfinals, and it is a very dramatic one already. As you can expect, there's two results already in, and those are Glasgow versus Cardiff, ending up 40-17 to Glasgow, and then the other result there being Ulster versus Stormers, 38-38. An absolute crazy match there. It's actually the reason why this episode's coming out so late, because I had to watch it. If you haven't watched it, just go back and watch it. It was a fantastic game, hugely controversial from the start to the end. Nathan Doak there, very, very unfortunate to have landed a head contact in his try saving tackle at the very end there, which actually resulted in a penalty try and a yellow card for himself. Ulster now stands 7th with 50 points. They definitely needed a win today, and a must needed win now against Glasgow Warriors next time out. And because if Connacht beat Munster tomorrow, they are in hot water, lads. As will Cardiff, actually, against DHL Stormers next time out too, because they sit both on the same amount of points as of today's standings. Now, for the games that haven't happened yet, we have Bulls versus Zebre. As a prediction I will give for all of these, I do think Bulls will pull through that one. Zebre just really not hitting the mark this season. Sharks versus Benetton. I do think Sharks will win that. Leinster obviously versus Lions. I'm always going to shout for the men in blue. Leinster for that one. Ospreys versus Scarlets. I do think Scarlets will win that one. I think they've had a bit of grit in them in a very, very poor season for them both, really, unfortunately. But I do think Scarlets will pull ahead on that one. Next up, we've Connacht versus Munster, and I do think the Connacht are going to pull through that. It's in the Dexcom Stadium, and it is a Munster are very depleted for players now currently, so it is going to be an absolute crazy game. Connacht need the win, need a bonus point win. It is hell for leather. It's coming up. And last but not least, we have Dragons versus Edinburgh, and I do think Dragons are going to win that one. So, how does the table stand now after the Glasgow Warriors win and the DHL Stormers and Ulster draw? Well, Glasgow Warriors are now first again with 60 points. DHL Stormers are now second with 59 points. The Fidelity Securedrive Lions are third with 53 points. Leinster are fourth with 53 points as well. Munster are fifth with 51 points. Cardiff are sixth with 50 points. Level with Ulster also on 50 points in 7th, and then 8th are Vodacom Bulls with 49 points. And it is notable to mention there that Connacht, who are yet to play tomorrow and yet to play Munster tomorrow, are 9th with 44 points. So look, it's all still for the taking. Crazy really for the last two rounds of this. Obviously the only two ones are currently set in stone are Glasgow Warriors and DHL Stormers. So yeah, pretty much from position 3 all the way down to position 9, it is all for the taking. So we're in for some fantastic last two rounds. And look, if it's anything like the Ulster versus DHL Stormers game, it's going to be absolutely crazy and very unpredictable. So I'm delighted. That's the kind of rugby you want to see. You want to see this exciting, like nail-biting, edge of your seat kind of rugby. And if I remember correctly, like this time last year, the URC table definitely wasn't as dramatic coming into this last two rounds. So, look, we all live for this. This is exactly what we want out of tournament rugby. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, let's go on to the details of our game there. Kickoff is at 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday, 9th May. Weather is looking partly cloudy, but not too bad. It's pretty dry, actually, and it's about 12 degrees. So, not the warmest, but still not the coldest either. And hopefully not raining. So, it'll be nice there in the Aviva Stadium. Referee there is Holly Davison, fantastic, obviously Scottish referee, her 28th URC game in charge. A couple of facts there about her: she's one of the most decorated officials in the game right now, first woman to referee a men's Six Nations match, and also refereed 2 women's World Cup finals. And she was also named World Rugby Referee of the Year in 2025. So look, I think Holly Davison is a fantastic referee. Delighted that she is refereeing our game tomorrow. And where you can watch it, I suppose, well, obviously in the Aviva Stadium if you're lucky enough to have tickets, but if not, Unfortunately, this is not any domestic channels, as in RT or TG Car. So you're actually going to be looking at it on either Premier Sports, Supersport, URC TV, or Flow Rugby, etc. So, tune in, folks. It's going to be a fantastic game of rugby all day tomorrow, but especially that Leinster versus Lions. Alright, folks, going into the lineups here. So starting off with the Leinster lineup into the backs. Number 15, Kieran Frawley. 14, JJ Kenny. 13, Raiko Owane. 12, Jamie Osborne. 11, Jimmy O'Brien. 10, Sam Prendergast. 9, Luke McGrath. Going into the forwards there, number 1, Ed Byrne. 2, John McKee. 3, Thomas Clarkson. 4, Brian Deeney. 5, and our captain, James Ryan. 6, Max Deegan, making his return after his 2-match ban. 7, Will Connors. And 8, James Culhan. Going on to the bench here, we've number 16, Dan Sheehan. 17, Andrew Porter. 18, Rabah Salmani. 19, German Mangan. Number 20, Scott Penny. 21, Fintan Gunn. 22, Hugh Cooney. And 23, Hugo Keenan. Over to the Lions, their lineup in their backs is 15, Con Horn. 14, Eric Cronge. 13, Henko van Wyk. 12, Richard Creel. 11, Angelo Davids. 10, Chris Smith. 9, Morn van den Berg. Into the forwards area of SJ Coetzee. 2 is PJ Botha. 3, Asanathi Lapakanya. 4, Etienne Usuzian. 5, Reinhard Nothenangel. 6, Siba Mahashe. 7, Ruin Venter. And number 8, Frank Horn is actually their captain as well. Onto the bench, number 16, Franco Marais. 17, Eddie Davids. 18, Sebastian Lombard. 19, Darian Landsberg. 20, Batho Helkani. 21, JC Pretorius. 22, Nico Stein. And 23, Kelly Mepiku. The bench that's there, obviously, if you're noticing, is Leinster opting for a 5-3 split, and also Lions opting for a 5-3 split there. So very interesting. As always, I've gotten those names absolutely butchered, so I do apologise. I will try look them up beforehand. I suppose looking into some interesting changes there into our team. Obviously, you're looking at a massive bench there, the likes of Dan Sheehan, Andrew Porter, Rabah Samani, Scott Penny as well, Hugo Keenan there being on the bench. Like, that is a very, very stacked bench. So I'd say what you're probably looking at here is Leo Cullen expecting a very strong game from the very much really changed team, but also having a fantastic backup there in case shit hits the fan. Also notable there as well is Raiko back into the centre position. So he's losing that wing position there again to JJ Kenny and also Jimmy O'Brien. Obviously a couple of people being rested there, and naturally so we have to prepare ourselves for the European final. So yeah, I don't think you could blame us too much or blame Leo Cullen too much for that. I think it's probably expected, and I think I was saying there in the review one, I did expect him to do that, and I do not really mind that he's doing that this time. It's different last time because we were actually coming into the quarterfinals of the URC, and obviously knockout rugby there, you don't really want to be putting in a second team or a third team in that sense. Another notable mention there is obviously Sam Prendergast back at number 10. Obviously the faith in him has been probably dropped an awful lot. The fact that he's been put in, Harry Byrne is not even on the 23. You're probably looking at, you're looking at Kieran Frawley there in 15. He could potentially sub into number 10 there, and we could replace Raiko Owane or Sam Prendergast there with the likes of Hugo Keenan and Fintan Gunn there, Hugh Cooney. So yeah, it's probably not great. I'd say him going into that match now, he's probably thinking this is a bit abysmal for him, the fact that he hasn't really been put on the front line there for these big games. And I suppose Lions especially, they're travelling over from South Africa. It's a big game for them, but it's probably a not too bad game for us. They don't really travel too well. And now I'm saying that, obviously they're third, so they are still ahead of us. So it is a big game to be at. But yeah, like dare I say, Frawley, he's the 15 option there, but he could potentially go to 10. So yeah, interesting enough there. Who to watch, I suppose. Yeah, look, Sam Prendergast obviously starting 10 now. He's going to want to really look to control the game. He's going to want to defend properly as well. He's going to want to get those tackles in and really prove that he just isn't the person we saw against the Toulon there recently. So a big game feel, but there's plenty riding on his performance this time. So hopefully he steps up to the mark there. Obviously another person there, James Ryan. Look, we've missed him in the team sheets before. I think he is absolutely vital for us to have a bit of stellar rugby going. Obviously, him captaining this side as well is going to be a huge boost for us. He's fantastic at the line out. He always dominates there. He's fantastic at the breakdown. And also, he's a top 4 seed. His leadership's going to be fantastic tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. Last but not least there, in terms of Leinster, Hugo Keenan, him coming off the bench is... you don't really see that too often, that he's coming off the bench. So it could be an absolute spark that we need to come on. If shit hits the fan, he is the perfect person to come on and level the playing field. I think he's just a fantastic one. So having him on the bench is it's like a cheat code. Moving over there to the Lions, yeah, like Frank Horn there, their captain. He's a fantastic carrier. He'll look to impose himself probably very early on and very physically. He's a fantastic player, so we have to watch out for him. Richard Creel there as well. I think it's his 50th appearance now for the Lions. He is an experienced centre. He oozes calm under pressure. So his defensive line is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Also, his attacking structure is always pinpoint. So we do definitely need to be not giving him a chance to display what he has to offer. And then last but not least, PJ Botha. He was absolutely outstanding last season. So look, he's dangerous to line out as well. So I think we don't want to let him have the ball either, or really get him going. But look, I think, as I said, they're coming in from South Africa. It's always tough for them. You can see it there for the EHL Stormers coming against Ulster. They were table leaders, and then it just really didn't look like it, considering that Ulster are down there in 6th. But look, I mean, Ulster as well, I suppose I'm probably downplaying them a bit. They had a fantastic game there recently, and they're also in the Challenge Cup final. So yeah, maybe I'm putting them down a bit too much there. I suppose previous games there that we played, the Lions, we last played them in October 2024. We beat them 24-6 in the Aviva Stadium. Before that, obviously, they got their only win over us, and that was in Ellis Park, where they beat us in April of 2024, and that was 44-12. So yeah, we do not travel to South Africa very well, unfortunately. Head to head there, though, we have a 3-1 across the 4 meetings there. So obviously we've beaten them time and time again, but we definitely needed this time coming. My prediction there, obviously, we have a very sizable change of a team from Toulon. We're resting an awful lot of players. Obviously, we have a very stacked bench there, so that does need to be taken into consideration. The bookies have us at 1-5 outright. I think it's probably very justifiable there that we do have those odds coming into this game. But look, the thing is, we need a bonus point win. We can't just go out there and scrape the bottom of the barrel kind of situation and just get a win. We actually need the bonus point win. We need those 5 points. We need to get as close to second as possible. Ulster obviously did us a favour here by getting a draw. Now, still nearly top points there, but by getting a draw there, we've inched closer to getting that number 2 position, and we definitely want to try and get that. So I think we're probably going to get a scoreline of 28-12 to Leinster, and I'm going to put the man of the match there to one of my favourites, JJ Kenny. I think he hasn't been given enough opportunities recently, and I think he's going to come out there and prove why he needs to be in that squad for the European Championship. Alright folks, don't forget that the Irish women are playing Wales in Belfast tomorrow as well in the Women's Six Nations, so make sure to tune in on that, or do go up to the Aviva Stadium and support in person. It's a fantastic game. But look, the big one's coming up there as well, Ireland versus Scotland in the Aviva Stadium, so can't wait for that as well. But look, get out and get behind the Irish women in green tomorrow, and hopefully to beat Wales, get another win in their bag. But anyway, that's her, folks. If you haven't already, do please follow us on social media, mostly Instagram and Reddit. But look, hope to see you at the game tomorrow, and as always, thanks for listening.